We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order as the meeting's been properly posted and roll been taken.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2 is Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll also have a prayer. So I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, Heavenly Father, come in your presence on this afternoon to ask you to bless us, bless the cities, the residents of Delavan, and that you guide us in this afternoon in our meeting, that our decisions are for the best and the best for our community. In your holy son's name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Item number 3 is approval of the minutes. 3.1 is approval of the minutes from the July 20th, 2021 Common Council meeting. At this time, if there's no additions or corrections, I'd go ahead and entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So move. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 4 is communications. Tonight we've got a special recognition of Lieutenant Dave Smith for his service here to the City of Delavan Police Department for many years. And at this time, I'd like to ask our Police Chief Jim Hansen to say a few words and make a presentation.
Oh, come on up here, Dave, this is why we're here. We put this plaque together, and on the plaque, it says, on behalf of the city of the citizens and communities of Sharon, Darien, and the city of Delavan, we wish to honor your law enforcement service, your compassion, competence, and respect you share with the communities and citizens you serve is committed and will not be forgotten. Your professionalism and dedication will remain a shining example of those who serve and have served with you. Now that's what's on this plaque. Dave Smith, we've always, as a department, we've always wanted to be respectful, kind, compassionate, and competent in the service that we deliver. We always wanted to be reasonable and consistent in that delivery because we're responsible to and for everyone. And what made Dave Smith special is that he modeled this from the time before he was here and his whole time on the police department. Dave was a patrolman, he was a detective, and when he ended up resigning in retirement, he was one of our lieutenants. During his time as a detective, I can't tell you the impact that he made on victims. You don't understand how many cases come in every year that involve, kids and, whether it be physical or sexual abuse that we deal with on a regular basis here in the city. We deal with batteries with adults. We deal with crimes, financial crimes where people lose their life savings. Dave worked all those and was able to bring some sort of closure to those. That will never ever be, a plaque does not represent that. You can't imagine the impact that he's had on our community. And I just want to say thank you for your time. Dave and I are we still work together and we still have fun, but we miss Dave, and we certainly respect and honor his service.
I'd like to just say,
Yeah, not to put you on the spot. Come up to the microphone.
like I said, just a couple of things. The first thing, I just want to thank God for keeping me safe all these years. The one thing, my parents, I didn't see, they've always been there to guide me. They encouraged me to get into it, this career, and just really meant a lot that they were always there for me. My wife Sarah, my kids, Anna and Raina. I love all you guys, and I wouldn't have been as successful in this career without them, so I thank them as well. I think everybody here, it means a lot for you guys to show up and just be here for this. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Dave Smith. It's, I know we had talked about trying to do something like this to honor your many years of dedication to the police department, to the community, and I'm glad we could figure out that tonight would be a good night to do just that, and it's great to see the outpouring of fellow colleagues of yours that you've worked with, and again, thank you on behalf of the city council and the city for your many years of dedication and great work to, as the chief said, on many important issues that impact not just the individuals, but our community and so thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
On a little bit of, while we're still under communications, on a little bit sadder note, I wanted to recognize that unfortunately we recently lost Lieutenant Wayne Reedy, who was a longtime officer here in the city of Delavan from 1987 to 2014. And so we certainly keep him and his friends and family and our thoughts and prayers too during this very difficult time. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for having your family join us and in support of you as well. So thank you again and wish you the best going forward in your future. At this time, we'll move on to item number 5, which is public comments. Citizens at this time may address the chair at this point of the meeting. Please limit your comments to what's on the agenda at this time, and for no more than try to keep it to about 3 minutes. Is there anyone from the public wanting to speak at this time? Seeing hearing none, we'll move on to item number 6, which is reports of committees, boards, and commissions. 6.1, Finance Committee and Financial Report. Alderwoman Dusty Grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee met on August 10th at 5 o'clock. Our next meeting will be September 14th at 5. There's a few items on tonight's agenda. The minutes of the meeting are filed with the city clerk for public inspection. And at this time, I would make a motion to approve the financial reports.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 6.2 is general operations. Alderman Paul Wilson.
General operations met on August 3rd, 2021. Previous minutes were approved. Our chief of police, Mr. Dean Fanson, gave us COVID-19 update for Walworth County, as well as the police department monthly activity report for the month of July. The false alarms, parking citations were also covered. We touched on operator licenses issued in July. Mr. Mark Windorf gave us an update on the mowing of private properties. In the business section, we had former Alderman Gary Stubbnitz and Alderwoman Carrie Deshner Brandt attend the GOC meeting with an initiative to change our sidewalk policy, and that will be covered later in this meeting. We also discussed installing electric vehicle charging stations around the city. Then we had a short discussion on food trucks at the band shell. The meeting was closed in due form. Next meeting will be September 7th.
Thank you, Alderman Wilson. Moving on to item 6.3, which is the Planning Commission. Alderman Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The planning commission did not meet since last council meeting. September meeting is scheduled for Monday, August 30th, due to the Labor Day holiday.
Thank you, Alderman Geezer. 6.4 is Public Works. Alderwoman Deshner Brandt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Public Works met on July 27th at 5:30. Many of the items we discussed in the meeting are on tonight's agenda. Our next meeting is August 24th at 5:30.
Thank you, Alderwoman Deshner Brandt. Item 6.5 is Town of Delavan Lake Committee. Alderman Matt Beazer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Town of Delavan Lake Committee met and they discussed moving forward with some of the initiatives regarding cleaning the retention ponds. And there seems to be a little bit more movement with DNR. However, they're looking at potentially pushing back the whole thing until the following spring. Now, what's important to understand about that is there's some financing that's tied to this project. And that project needs to be completed by next September or they lose the financing for it.
Thank you, Alderman Matt Beazer. Item 6.6 is the Library Board of Trustees. Alderman Deshra Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Library Board of Trustees has not met since the last meeting. There is a very important agenda item tonight for the library. Our next meeting is August 19th, which is this Thursday at 5:30.
Thank you, Alderman Deshra Brand. Item 6.7 is Parks and Recreation Committee. Alderman Tommy Purcell.
Hello, okay, Park and Rec, pretty much getting done with the summer program. We're gonna do a print of the program instead of on the computer and that, it's gonna be a print where you get a newspaper. I think that's a lot better than going through the internet and Facebook. At least people got a print, they know what they're doing. This Saturday, from 12:30 to 1:30, it's gonna be the dog paddle. It's $5 to get in. You get treats, doesn't matter for the dog. It's at the mill pond. The mill pond's closed now, but they're opening up for the dog paddle. And pretty much wrapping up the fall or the summer program, and then we're gonna get ready for the fall programs. So if you want to go online, see what they have, but yeah, it's all gonna be pretty good.
Thank you, Alderman Purcell. Item 6.8 is Communications Commission. Alderman Solis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have not met since our last council meeting. Our next meeting is Monday, September 20th at 5:30 here at the city chambers.
Thank you, Alderman Solis. Item 6.9 is the Delavan Downtown Project Management Team. Alderwoman Deshra Brand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Downtown Project Management Team has also not met since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be on August 24th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Alderwoman Deshra Brand. 6.10 is the Delbrook Golf Commission. Alderman Purcell.
Delbrook, 2019, 2020. Bad years. But 2021 exceeded everything. They're doing phenomenal. They're making, everything is great. People are golfing. They have beat 2021, they beat 19 and 20. And they're still going. A few changes will be coming soon, the next 3 weeks. But they're doing really good there.
Great. Thank you, Alderman Purcell. Item 6.11 is the Tourism Commission. Alderman Denise Solis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met on July 28th and August, and also on August 4th. One of the things I wanted to mention, I think that everybody's gonna be happy to hear is that we touched on the billboard that's on 43, and I think that we're looking at getting that changed up or at least visibly updated. I know it's been the wall welcoming since it happened, so that's nice to see. We're also starting discussions about branding, Visit Delavan, and getting that sorted out to print some banners so we can have, currently the city, we have banners, brackets on our poles throughout the city. Last year, I think we got a glimpse of how they look when the school district put up some student athlete banners up, and they look pretty nice going to the city. I thought that was pretty neat. So we're making an assessment on what we have so that we can look forward to start printing stuff so that we can get some banners printed for different type of events. But before we can do that, we can discussion about possibly rebranding Visit Delavan and make sure the colors, everything's right. So that's just something that we've been touching on this meeting, so, but our next meeting is on September 14th at 9 AM and on Wednesday, and we welcome everybody to come join us.
Thank you, Alderman Solis. Moving on to item number 7, under the Finance Committee, 7.1 is consider a quote from Lighter Painting for repainting of the fiberboard upper portion of the Neil Flood Fire Station building for $21,000.
So this came through the finance committee. This has been an ongoing issue for the past 3 years. The current bidder has worked with the required materials before and made suggestions for longer term results. The single quote is in excess of the budget for the project by $13,500. It would be an exception to our purchasing policy. I will go ahead and make a motion to approve the estimated quote of $21,000 from Ryder Painting out of Elkhorn to repaint the upper fireboard portion of the Neil Flood Fire Station, knowing that this quote is in excess of our budget by $13,500 and acknowledgement that this single quote would be an exception to our purchasing policy.
Thank you, Alderwoman Dasher Brent. There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, what I can add to that is that last Wednesday after Finance Committee, Chief O'Neill met with Kelly Hayden to discuss the budget, and he's pretty confident that the overage can be handled under the repairs and maintenance budget line item for the fire department, that they're going to have enough left this year to make for that overage.
We're only able to get one bid on that, or did nobody else want to bid on it?
This item has been on for a while, and because of the type of materials that it requires, there's not a lot of qualified contractors that were willing to do it. So that this is the only bid that they were able to get, and they've been pushing. I mean, I've heard this item for a couple of years now, so I think since it got built, really. So it's been an ongoing issue. I did ask at the finance committee about this company, and they are gonna swap over to a material that's much easier to maintain, and it's not gonna cause us problems that's gonna require maintenance every 4 or 5 years. If they go back with the same product, we'll be doing this again every so many years. So I think that this company's brought something that's gonna give us a lot more value.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, may we have a roll call?
Alderman Purcell,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dasher Grant,
Yes.
Alderman Plaisant,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
Alderman Beezer,
Yes.
Alderman Solis.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7.2 is consider the purchase of water meters and cellular endpoints for 2022 from Badger Meeting at a cost of $37,026.72.
This also came before the finance committee. Badger Meter is running into problems with a chip shortage. They are hoping to have them by the 1st of this year. So for this reason, we would need to have them ordered now to have them in time for the May replacement. But the purchase will actually come out of next year's budget. So that being said, I would move to approve the purchase of 162 water meters and cellular endpoints from Badger Meter at a cost of $37,026.72 for the 2022 year.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, may we have a roll call?
Alderwoman Dasher Grant,
Yes.
Alderman Plaisant,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Yes.
Alderman Beezer,
Yes.
Alderman Solis.
Yes.
Alderman Purcell.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7.3 is consider awarding of the 2021 concrete sidewalk repair contract to Humphreys Contracting out of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin for an amount not to exceed $16,650.
This also came before the finance committee. There was one single bid that was received for this project. The price is within estimation and notices have been sent to citizens. So I would move to award the 2021 sidewalk repairs to Humphreys Contracting, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin for a total amount not to exceed $16,650.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Is that Chris?
Correct.
Seeing and hearing no further discussion, may we have a roll call?
Alderman Plazek.
Yes.
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderman Beezer.
Yes.
Alderman Solis.
Yes.
Alderman Purcell.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dashner Brandt.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7.4 is consider awarding of the Third Street Alley and Theater Drainage Improvement Contract to Wanasek Group out of Burlington, Wisconsin, at a total cost of $121,875.
The finance committee met briefly just before this meeting tonight. So I would move to award the Third Street Alley and Theater Drainage Improvements Contract to the Waneska Group out of Burlington, Wisconsin, at a total cost of $121,875.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
What's the time frame for completion for this project?
The goal is to have this paved, the pipes put in and the pavement replaced before the snow flies, which was the reason for the special finance committee.
Mark, I took a walk around the old theater this last Sunday. And the one you're gonna fix is actually a combination sewer, lateral, or you're gonna make that a storm sewer now?
Currently, they're exterior drains from the 1927 construction, both on the east side and the west side of the building. The emergency exits down on the lower level, those are connected to their sanitary sewer system.
Yeah.
So this would remove that from the sanitary sewer. It would also solve some drainage issues in the city parking lot, which also dumps water into that same sanitary sewer.
Okay, so after this, it'll be separate.
Correct.
That should be the last of the combination sewers
That we're aware of.
that we're aware of. Okay.
Thanks, Mark, for the further explanation on all that. Any further discussion? Again, there has been a motion and a second. May we have a roll call?
Alderman Wilson.
Yes.
Alderman Beezer.
Yes.
Alderman Solis.
Yes.
Alderman Purcell.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dashner Brandt.
Yes.
Alderman Plazek.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item 7.5 is consider a resolution declaring as surplus certain property at Delbrook Golf Course.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the proposed resolution declaring as surplus certain property located at Delbrook Golf Course.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 7.6 is approval of bills, warrant 21-07.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve warrant 21-07.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item number 8.1 is consider an ordinance amending municipal code section 3-2-15, parent A, to remove the requirement to assess for new sidewalk installations on existing improved properties.
I'll move that they have a proposed ordinance amending municipal code section 3-2-115. Parent A, removing the requirements to access a new sidewalk installations along the existing and improved properties.
I would second that.
And
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
like for Mark to just discuss, I asked him if he'd go over this with him and what we have done in the past.
Current city policy, which is in the ordinance, the original ordinance, is that sidewalks, when they're installed, are charged 50% to the adjoining property owners. What's in front of you is a proposal that would change that language so that anytime a new sidewalk is installed first time on an existing improved property, that the city would pay for 100% of the construction. There would still be language in there for repair, would still be shared 50-50.
unless it was damaged by a city terrestrial or other policy issues. But ultimately, this would change the assessment policy that new sidewalks would be a city cost.
Thank you, Mark, for that explanation. Any further discussion?
I think the biggest problem, I know most people who are here attended the GOC meeting, but I think the reason that this really came into play is because in the past, there's been votes for yes to sidewalks, votes for no to sidewalks, and there just doesn't seem to be, we don't seem to be following the policy all the time. So to me, that says something is wrong with the policy, maybe we need to look at a new policy, so that is why I guess we started talking about this, but just to kind of clarify where this is coming from.
Thank you for the additional explanation. I want to personally thank Alderwoman Deschner Brandt, and I know the chairs Public Works that this initiated, started through, and then also thank Alderman Paul Wilson for the chairs GOC for ultimately having this proposal come before the council tonight. I think staff and a few of us, even back to my days of being on the city council as an alderman, as Alderwoman Deschner Brandt pointed out, just a real inconsistency for many years on how we handle this. And so I think this clears it up, it makes it consistent and makes it fair, and a lot of it is existing older subdivisions, and that's where we really have the issue. It's not so much in the newly developed subdivisions, developers are putting them in their way. So any other, so again, thank you to Alderwoman Deschner Brandt and Alderman Wilson, and I know former Alderman Stebbins was also in attendance, and this has been an issue that he's talked about over the years as well. So thank you all that were involved with bringing this recommendation to discussion. Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Other business under item 9.1 is consider a resolution authorizing the execution of closing documents for the sale of city properties on Ann Street.
Mr. Mayor, this is the Tully and Romboy project, and we're moving towards closing. And we need a resolution that you can sign the necessary documents to transfer the title to the purchaser.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposed resolution authorizing the execution of closing documents for the sale of city properties on Ann Street.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 9.2 is consider an authorizing resolution for the construction of an addition at the Aaron Public Library.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the proposed authorizing resolution for the construction of an addition to the Aaron Public Library.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to say, I've been sitting in on the library board since I was elected the first time here for office, and I'm going to admit, I was skeptical when I started about, do we really need a new library? So I took my stuff after work and I went down there and I sat there. And I watched everybody coming in, and I watched the fact that these people wanted to use resources, and we didn't have enough resources, we didn't have enough tables. I couldn't believe the amount of people that were in that library after school one day. And the programming and community services the library offers are commendable, and they're so important to the city. I think the school district along with the library are just the backbones of these communities. And I've been so happy to be able to serve with everybody on the library board and open my eyes to new things, and I'm really excited about this.
Thank you, Alderwoman Deschner Brandt. Any other further discussion? I would just say that the finance committee, we often talk about the capital 10-year plan, and I remember well over a decade that this expansion was on the radar back in 2010. So I definitely concur with the statements that have been made by Alderwoman Deshner Brandt, and I think it's important that we're bringing this resolution forward and working together between the library board and the library foundation and community to make this a long overdue reality. So with that, if there's no other further discussion, I entertain a motion to approve.
And you have a motion.
Okay, sorry, there's a motion and a second, all in favor of the resolution and the motion to approve. Opposed, any opposed, same sign? Thank you. Item number 10. At this time, we'll move on to item number 10, which is public comments. Again, citizens may address the chair at this point in the meeting. Please just limit your comments to once for about 2 minutes. Chief?
Nobody loves getting out of meetings faster than me. But, two things, I'm also excited about the library, and you had me take the mayor for a day around. We went down and saw the library. It was amazing what goes on down there, so I applaud you guys. The only thing I want to do, just a quick update on the COVID. Vaccines will be available on the 31st of August at the Delavan High School from 4 to 6 p.m. It's Pfizer 12 and older. So I just want to make sure everybody had that information. We've had a little bit of a spike in the last 7 days. We had 16.5 in the Delavan area that have gone cold. No deaths, everybody's fine, but there's something going on, and I wanted to make sure everybody had that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add something quickly to that regarding COVID. I have some information regarding the Delta variant, and the hospitals are reporting that of the people that are coming in that are new patients with COVID, 2% of them, only 2% of them have a vaccine, which means the vaccine is very, very effective at stopping the Delta variant. Really encourage everyone to make sure that their children, their loved ones, their family have the vaccine. It is working, and it is clearly working.
Thank you all indeed. Any other public comments at this point? Seeing hearing none, we'll move on to item number 11, which is suggested future agenda items. Are there any future agenda items at this time? If not, I've often said that if things come up between now and our next meeting and prior to that, just please let myself know, our city administrator know, and we're happy to put those agenda items on for further discussion. With that, we'll move on to item number 12. If there's no further business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion, second, and a second. All in favor of adjournment, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.